Thank you, Madam President. Madam President, let me congratulate Ambassador Beresfeld and the Swiss delegation on a very successful presidency of the Council and for convening this annual open debate on women, peace and security. We also thank the Secretary General and other briefers for their valuable insights. Next year, Madam President, will mark 25 years since the adoption of Security Council Resolution 1325. It is thus an opportune moment to reflect on our achievements, shortcomings, and to consider the future course of action. Security Council Resolution 1325 marked a watershed. It placed women's issues at the center of the global conflict prevention debate, and for the first time recognized that women are not just victims of war, but also active agents of peace and stability. The impacts of the efforts that have been made under the WPS agenda are visible. A growing number of member states have subscribed to this agenda and adopted its four-pillar policy. Violence against women in conflict situations has been contained in several conflict zones. Number of women serving as special representatives and special envoys has increased. The participation of women peacekeepers has improved. The involvement of female civil society representatives in peace building has enlarged. Pakistan remains strongly committed to advancing the gender perspective in all United Nations actions, especially those relating to UN peace operations. We were the first country to endorse the Secretary General's declaration of shared commitments which identified women, peace and security as a central priority to strengthen UN peacekeeping. Our political commitment was matched with practical steps in the field. For example, we dispatched in 2019 our first all-female community engagement team to Africa, which undertook several successful initiatives, including vocational training for local students, teachers and women. An increasing number of Pakistani women peacekeepers in recent years have served as doctors, nurses and police officers. Our policewoman, Shahzadi Gulfam, was the first ever recipient of the International Female Police Peacekeeper Award in 2011. Pakistan's highly trained and professional UN peacekeepers, including female peacekeepers, continue to set the highest standards in fulfilling peacekeeping mandates and protecting all vulnerable segments of the population, including women, from violence in some of the most dangerous and complex conflict situations. Madam President, while considerable progress has been made, especially on the normative front, in promoting the women, peace and security agenda, the world continues to remain a very dangerous place for women and girls who often find themselves caught in the vortex of unending wars and violence, where they are extremely vulnerable to sexual violence. Madam President, the most egregious violations against women and girls occur in situations of foreign occupation, since a principal objective of foreign occupation is the subjugation of the occupied population, among which women and girls are the most vulnerable. This is the case in occupied Jammu and Kashmir. Since 1990, over 100,000 Kashmiri men, women and children have been killed in occupied Jammu and Kashmir. There is documented evidence that Indian occupation forces have targeted Kashmiri women. Besides intimidation and oppression, Indian forces have used rape as a weapon of war to inflict punishment and humiliation on the entire community. The most prominent among the incidents was the widely reported rape of 25 Kashmiri women in the twin Kashmiri villages of Konan and Poshpora in 1991. This is documented in the 2018 and 2019 reports of the Office of the High Commissioner for Human Rights in the international media and in and by human rights organizations. Madam President, the anguish of the Kashmiri women is further compounded when their family members, including children, are abducted in midnight raids, illegally detained, and tortured by occupying forces, when unremitting restrictions on movement and communication condemns Kashmiri women to helplessly witnessing the suffering of their children. Madam President, the Women, Peace and Security agenda must accord salience and priority to ending the suffering of women under foreign occupation, whether these are in Kashmir or whether these are in Gaza and the West Bank or in the entire Palestine, which is being subjected to a genocidal war. The Security Council must live up to its responsibilities and address the dire and unacceptable situation of women and girls under foreign occupation. I thank you, Madam President.
I thank the representative of Pakistan for his